That's right. We are back with this season's first fishing report. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching our videos and watching these fishing reports. I do got to torture you all with a little bit of advertising because that is why we do these reports. You guys get a report, I get to advertise my business. So we'll get into it right away. We do have a few trips that have opened up for the first week of April, as you can see the dates on here, and that is fishing Lake Mohave, targeting the spawning smallmouth. You can visit our website for pricing and info on the packages. The available dates that I have for April are up on the screen, as you can see here. Next up, for our waterfowl hunts, we are just about booked up for the entire season, which runs from late October to the end of January. I've only got a few dates left, and when I say a few, I mean like 3. I've got 2 single day hunts open in January. I also have 1 4-person, all-inclusive 3 days of hunting and 3 nights in our waterfront lodge available in January. And then I also have in early January a spot for 2 hunters in our 3-day, 3-night, all-inclusive lodge with hunting involved. Visit our website for more info. Give us a call if you'd like to book that. And last but not least, taxidermy. I do have room to take on a few more birds to be done before this season starts in October. We are by appointment only, so give us a call if you've got a bird that you want to get dropped off, and you can see pricing on our website. Give us a shout and we'll get you all dialed in. Now, stay tuned for the fishing report. Here we go. Okay, folks, we're going to get rolling here with the fishing report, and I do want to let you know that we did add a new section to our fishing report. We are adding a forecast, what we think is going to happen to water temps and what we think are going to happen to the fish and what they're going to do for the next 6 days in front of us. That way you can kind of plan it out. Let us know how we do in the comments. So here we go. We're going to start out first with the regular fishing report. We're going to start off with Willow Beach. There's some big stripers being caught. We were getting them on the Bass Pro Shops XPS hard bait, the 10-inch trout swim bait. Those were doing really well. A lot of strikes on those, and we managed to boat a couple on those. Also, we caught the biggest one last week on a 9-inch soft Huddleston trout swim bait. Great action. Again, that's on Thursdays when they stock the trout there. They've been stocking them every Thursday. They're going to continue to stock them, and they do that about 7 in the morning. So it's a good idea to get your spot there early in the morning to get out and get some of those. All right, let's move down into the lake zone on Lake Mohave. Fish are moving onto beds, and a lot of fish in pre-spawn mode. They're eating various plastics, drop shot being the number 1 bait. A lot of those straight robo-worms in the 4.5 seem to be getting them. And also jigs with craw trailers. Also, Texas rigged craws dragged extremely painstakingly slow on the bottom. Those are getting the biggest fish with drop shot, getting the numbers. Those are your best baits to be using out there. Also jigs, like I said, with the craw trailers. Those seem to be doing really, really well. And that's for the smallmouth and largemouth. The striper bite is absolutely terrible. We have gotten a couple over the last few weeks just by accident on crankbaits when that crankbait bite was going. But that crankbait bite seems to be dying out now. And the striper bite still has not kicked into gear. That could get going as water temps warm up into the mid 60s. The water temps have been averaging about 58 to 59 degrees. And that's pretty much all that's been going on Mohave. But again, that smallmouth and largemouth bite is on fire right now if you can get out there in between the winds. Stay tuned for the forecast because we'll get into that as soon as I get done letting you know what's going on the Colorado River below Davis Dam. The striper bite has been very, very slow except for the days that the city is stocking trout in the river, and they don't really let anyone know when these dates are happening. They just kind of do it and then post it on Facebook that it happened. I can tell you where they're stocking those. They are stocking at Rotary Park and Community Park, and also sometimes the little sneaky one is if they drop some off at Davis Camp, the camp there that's just north of the Laughlin Bridge that goes to the casinos. And when that does happen, they are being caught on various swim baits and jerk baits, and also frozen anchovies. You can also get trout during the stocking on power bait, night crawlers. Really easy if you want to bring your kids down there. You can stand next to the ramp. Just make sure you're not in the illegal part, standing on the dock or the actual boat ramp, but you can go to either side of it, and there's plenty of fish to be caught for the kids. But stripers, we're looking as it winds down in Havasu, those stripers will start moving upriver, and we'll start seeing them here. It is starting to wind down just a little bit, but they are still all down in Havasu and have not made their way up here. But that's coming soon as those water temps warm up. We've got a lot of warm weather coming, so look for that to be happening soon in the next few weeks. All right, here we go with the forecast. Okay, let's start off with Tuesday. Tuesday looks like a great day to be out on the water. Starting at 5 a.m., we've got winds coming out of the north at 8 miles an hour, moving, staying into that 8 to 10 miles an hour. It's going to be 72 degrees in the morning. Those cold mornings, I think, are done. We have a high of 91. That's going to also bring up our water temps from today. Today, they started to rise a little bit. We saw some 61 and some 62. So expect water temps to be in that 60 to 62 range for Tuesday. Okay, for Wednesday, we got a little bit of change in wind direction and wind speed. We're getting more into that summer and late spring wind pattern where the wind's going to be coming out of the south, starting off in the morning out of the southeast at 5 to 6 miles an hour from daybreak until about 8 a.m. Then it's going to slightly increase to about 10 miles an hour and start coming out of the southwest. And by 11 a.m., it looks like we're going to have 14 miles an hour out of the southwest, increasing by in between 11 and 2 p.m. It's going to increase up to 18 miles an hour with gusts to 21. We're going to have a high of 88 degrees, so we still got some of that warm temperatures that are going to warm that water. The water's still going to be hovering in that 60 to 62 range. Just be careful if you're in a real small boat when we get into that 20 miles an hour. Coming out of the south, that wind doesn't make things as bad out of the Catherine's Landing area and the Princess Cove area, so you can get away with it, but just keep an eye on that. You tend to get a lot smaller swells or waves when we get it out of the south. It's when it's coming out of the north that you really got to watch that. But just look for that around lunchtime to later in the afternoon. That's going to be on average between 15 miles an hour and with some gusts up to 21 and some sustained winds as high as 18 miles an hour. Again, that water temp's going to remain at about 60 to 62 degrees. Okay, moving on to Thursday. We got a few changes. We're going to see a cooling trend in the weather. We're going to start off at 5 a.m. We're going to have a 68 degree weather at about 5 a.m. A high of 81 for Thursday. But that with that warming trend that we had from Tuesday and Wednesday, that's still going to send water temperatures up a few degrees. So we're going to be seeing water temps in the 60 to 63 degrees. And what that's going to do is some of these fish that have been staging on the outside, and these tend to be the bigger fish as we're getting further into this spawn cycle, some of these bigger fish are going to start moving up shallow as we get to that 61 and 63 degrees. So we still got great fishing weather for Thursday, nothing too crazy to worry about. That wind is still going to be coming out of the southwest with more of a westerly direction. So it's really the lake's going to have a little bit more protection. We won't see as big of chop and waves. But again, anytime you see 20 miles an hour, which we're not quite there yet midday, but it can get there. So just keep an eye on that. And thank God it's Friday. We're going to call Friday moving day because that's when we're going to see some big changes in what these fish are doing on Friday. That's going to correlate with the water temps. You're going to see water temps should be in the 64 to 65 degree range, and the weather is going to be absolutely fantastic. Going to start the morning off with almost no wind and some cloud cover. So we're going to have 0 to 1 mile an hour winds up to 8 a.m., even past 11 a.m., and only a high of 8 miles an hour sustained winds at 2 p.m. with a few gusts to 13. So it's pretty much non-existent. A lot of times we're going to have that cloud cover till about 11. Then when we get that increase in wind, that's going to clear. But those two things are going to help with the bite. That cloud cover helps with the bite. You're a little bit more disguised. And same with a little breeze. A slight 8 to 13 mile an hour breeze is prime time for fishing. With these warmer temps, a lot of these bigger fish that have been staging out a little bit deeper are going to start moving shallow to get ready to make beds, bed guard, and spawn and find a mate. Friday is that day. You want to get some big fish, get out there on Friday. You're going to see those fish moving up, and you got to get on them. Got to get it while it's hot, because this is only going to last for a couple of weeks. Friday's your day. Get out there. Okay, for all you weekend warriors, now we're up with Saturday. We're going to have 64 to 65 degree water and winds starting off at 5 miles an hour at about 8 a.m. We are going to see a temperature drop. It's going to be 59 degrees right at daylight. Around 8 a.m. warming up to 63, and we're going to only have a high of 77. Winds aren't going to be too crazy. Around 11, we're going to have 16 miles an hour, but it is going to be coming back out of the north again. So again, remember on Lake Mohave, when that wind comes out of the north, things can get a little more choppy. You're still okay, I think, on Saturday if these forecasts hold right, because we're only seeing maximum gusts up to 17 in the middle of the day, which isn't that bad. We're still under that threshold of where it's not dangerous, but still going to be a little windy. That's going to help with the bite. So the first part of the morning, you're going to have real low winds, but those temperatures are dropping. However, a lot of those fish are going to be moved up shallow. A lot of them are going to be on beds. And you're going to start seeing a lot more largemouth in the backs of coves. The baits that you're going to be using on these beds, plastic creature baits and jigs, are your go-to baits for bed fishing. Not a moving bait over the top of the bed. They're not looking to strike those baits out of hunger. They're looking at it to strike them as to get them off of their bed, because they're bed guarding. We're going to see a lot more fish guarding beds on Saturdays. So get your plastic creature baits and your jigs ready and get on some beds. Just please don't drive around with those fish. Release those fish right where you caught them, and they'll be fine. They'll go right back to their bed for someone else to catch, and those fish will spawn no matter how many times they get them caught. We see this over and over every year. Just respect the fish, have a good time, and get on some of those beds, because it doesn't last long, but we're going to see a lot bigger fish on beds. And again, plastic creature baits like craws and jigs on those beds, and those fish will get them. So stay tuned. All right, we made it to Sunday. Sunday is going to be your day. I mean, if you can get out there, it is going to be a little windy, so it's going to be a little difficult to see those beds, but a lot of fish are going to be bed guarding. There's going to be a new wave of fish making beds and moving up. Sunday is probably going to be the prime time of all of this spawn season. Water temps from 64 to 65. Again, bigger fish are going to be moving in shallow, and we're going to see the biggest wave of spawners moving up on Sunday. We're going to start off the day at 5 miles an hour, and we're going to have high winds of 16 and 17 miles an hour the midday. Not too bad. You can get in some of those protected areas where those beds are anyways. Just going to be when you get a little ripple on the water, it's tough to see them. So the trick to that is use a white bait or a fluorescent bait, like that neon green or neon orange. I tend to like to use white on those days. It tends to show up a little bit easier, a little bit more contrast on the bottom. Again, if you're looking to bed fish, Sunday is absolutely prime day. That is your number one day to get out there and get them. Again, plastic creature baits and jigs are your best bet. Bed fishing's a lot of fun. Again, just respect those fish. Just let them go right where you got them. They'll be fine. I can't even stress it enough. If you really want to get that trophy smallmouth on a Lake Mohave, Sunday is your day. If you see us out there, stop and say hello. More than welcome to ask us a few questions on what's going on out there. We'll be happy to tell you if you see us out there. Stop by and say hello. We really appreciate you watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you, 7 days, maybe 10 days. We're super busy, so we'll get one out as soon as we can. Have a good one, folks. Get out there and fish.